Hello, my name is Lorelei Bidwell, and I am a librarian at Glen Burnie Library, which is a branch of the Anne Arundel County Public Library System. Welcome to my virtual poster presentation, where I will speak on the success of my teen and later tween anime clubs. What I hope you will all take away from my presentation today is confidence in starting your own club and or expanding your current one. So first, I would like to define 3 terms for you. So number 1, what is an otaku? According to Abby Denson in her book, Cool Japan Guide, otaku are obsessive fans of anything, but typically it is used to refer to fans of manga, anime, toys, and other products of Japanese pop culture. So to us Westerners, this can be likened to a geek or a nerd, and otaku started off as a derogatory term, but those who identify as one have really embraced it and changed the meaning to a more endearing one. The second term is anime. So what exactly is anime? Outside of Japan, this refers to all Japanese animation and cartoons in TV and film. However, in Japan, this refers to all animation and cartoons in TV and film. So anything like Marvel or DC in America would be considered anime. The last term is manga. So once again, outside of Japan, this term refers to all Japanese comics. In Japan, this refers to all comics. So again, like Marvel and DC, all of those would be considered manga in Japan. Okay, so now that we have the basics down, let's jump into how I got started with my club and the steps I took to make it a successful regular program. All right. So I started at Glen Burnie Library in October of 2016. And I literally, on my second day on the job, I had to host the Teen Anime Club. I had never run a program before, but luckily I had personal interest in anime and manga, so it wasn't too terrible and I didn't completely freak out. But for the first few months, I only had about 3 regulars, and that's if they all showed up. But now I've been there about 4.5 years. And before the pandemic, the club had grown to approximately 20 plus teens attending every single month. So it was a pretty big group. We had a lot of fun, and it was always a mixture of regulars and new teens. It was always great to see where they were coming from, whether they were from different schools from across the county or if they were homeschooled. It was really just a neat mix. Eventually, my teen anime club became so popular that we started to receive requests from parents for anime clubs for younger ages. So thus my tween anime club was born for ages 8 to 11, and that happened in about 2018. While this started just as slowly as the teen anime club, it also grew to a consistent 10 plus tweens every month. Currently, teen anime has been transitioned to a virtual program using Zoom since June 2020. Attendance has been up and down despite large registration, but if these last couple of meetings are any indication, I am confident that it will perk back up. So why? Why have an anime and manga club? First off, it's just really fun, especially if you're like me and you have a personal interest in anime and manga. If not either way, it's a positive experience for those teens who are and use it as a sort of escape and artistic outlet. But really, it fosters creativity and acceptance of others. A lot of my teens are LGBTQ+, and they feel safe at Anime Club, and that is exactly my goal. I want to create a safe and welcoming space for them to be themselves, and to be nerdy, and to be silly, and to be whatever they want to be, and to share if they want to share. It is a really good place for them to just make friends. And like I mentioned before, they might find out that they have some from their school that they had no idea liked the same things as them, or they meet completely different people from other schools, or homeschoolers get that social interaction that they don't normally have access to. So really, they just come together to hang out and to enjoy things that they all enjoy. It's a wonderful atmosphere to be in. All right, so the how. So how did I cultivate this club from 3 teams to 20 plus every month? I was very consistent in my outreach, especially as the outreach liaison for our branch. I cultivated strong relationships with my media specialists at the 2 high schools and 4 middle schools that are in our area. However, I do send my promotional materials to all of the high schools and middle schools in the county. We are a large county, and so we only have 2 anime clubs, with one currently being inactive. So it just gives them an option. They can go to one or the other or both. When I attended back to school nights and literacy nights and showcase nights, I had all this information with me. I created a special poster for my outreaches, and I highlight anime on there, as well as other teen programs that the system offers. The promotional materials that I created were bookmarks, flyers, a slide, and a featured image that I created for the website. I send those bookmarks and flyers to my school contacts every month. And when we were open to the public, I also had them out in the public area. I also have an email list that teens have the option to sign up for. It's a Gmail that my predecessor set up, and I have found it useful to keep in touch with everyone. Rather than them just receiving, automated library market email reminders, I send them a thank you email after each club, a reminder email for the next one, the week before, and the day before. When I took over, I started with about 20 emails, and now there's well over 100. Of course, I'm not getting 100 teens every month, but it's a pretty hefty list. And so it's beneficial to be able to stay connected with them, even if they don't always come or respond. It makes me feel good to give them that option, somewhere to go if they want to go. Moving on to the activities. I always try to relate the activities I provide with the anime we are watching. I'm a very crafty person, so I tend to go that route. I also try to reuse, recycle, and upcycle things that we already have in the library, which I'm sure we all try to do anyway. But it really helps to give them something to do, especially the shy ones. Another thing that we do every year is a cosplay contest, and that's usually around October for Halloween. And so we have a little Halloween party with the cosplay contest, which you can see in the top right corner of my poster. They go all out with their creativity and favorite characters. It's pretty awesome. I also have teens that don't necessarily want to dress up, but they volunteer to be judges. I created scoring sheets for them to use, and I only help tally up their votes at the end. So it's a lot of fun and educational for them if they ever want to compete in actual convention contests. Another thing I love to do is showcase their artwork. This was really prompted by our branch's 50th anniversary in May 2019. We had a big old celebration with special events and things leading up to the actual day of. What I did to make sure teens were represented was gather artwork from my teen anime club and put them on display for the public to see. I made photocopies so that the original artwork would not be damaged when we hung them up on display boards. The response was very positive. A lot of customers were like, wow, this is amazing. Whose artwork is this? And when we would tell them it was our teens, they were just astounded at the talent they have. And now, as you can see on the poster board near the bottom right, the artwork permanently lives in the teen space on that big bulkhead, with their permission, of course. And it really brightens the space and makes it their own. The last how that I think the teens really appreciate is the use of discarded manga for giveaways every month, and special volumes for cosplay contest winners that I set aside throughout the year. I usually have a couple of boxes that they can rifle through, and they can take a couple home. Right, special events. I have now twice hosted an after-hours event that brought in 30 plus teens each time. It required a signed permission slip by their legal parent or guardian. I did have a lot of regulars, but I also had a lot of new faces. And sometimes they continued coming and sometimes they didn't. I'm sure pizza was a big draw. But we did pizza, movies, crafts, and games. It was a good time. Another colleague and I would be the only adults, and it would take place from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock on a Friday, back when we were still open, 9 to 5 on Fridays and Saturdays. So we were in the library for 4 hours by ourselves. They really seemed to love it, just having the library all to themselves. Okay, so this is a special mention that I was really, really excited for, Toshokan, an anime convention at the library, which was slated for October of last year, but did not happen because of COVID-19. I had a planning committee of 9 teens who volunteered to help organize the event. I was just going to lead them along and be the point of contact. I wanted them to gain real life experience, creating something that focused on what they enjoyed. We were so ready to. They were reaching out to vendors, thinking of activities that we could have on the side, and the panels we could have, and of course a cosplay contest. We even designed a mascot for our little convention. Most of them drew up a mascot option, and we loved all of them. So we were like, let's make it a group of friends as the mascots. And that's what we did. So you'll see at the top left corner of my poster, the final concept for our promotional materials. So we were going to make buttons, flyers, and banners. Hopefully we can still make this happen in the future. Fun fact, Toshokan is library in Japanese. So the name really worked itself out and it tickled me. Okay, finally, I just wanted to share the promotional materials with you and some of the activities that we've done. So the top is a big banner. You'll see on the left-hand side here, there are a few examples of the activities we've done. The top is a big banner that says Anime and Manga Club. I rolled out butcher paper, gave them markers and paint, etc., and told them to go crazy on it so we could have artwork in the team space on that bulkhead before we had all the artwork from our 50th anniversary. Another example of an activity we've done are these little felt ear clips that you can see me wearing in this photo. Super cute and inexpensive to make. The only supplies you need are felt hair clips, and I got mine from the dollar store, and hot glue. We actually did this craft a couple of times because they liked it so much. And to the left of that photo here, we have a little Kokeshi doll made from an old soda can. We just paint them white and then draw or paint your little doll design on them, and obviously let it dry. Super cute. The bottom image, if anyone is familiar with My Hero Academia, it's really good and really popular. The main hero in that anime is All Might, and his hair does this exaggerated flippy thing. So our protagonist, who is All Might's biggest fan, is Izuku Midoriya. He has a name plaque that he hangs on his bedroom door. So like the one shown here, but obviously with his name on it. But I thought this would be neat and really easy to do. All we used was cardboard, paint, and the string for hanging. I really liked mine and still have it hanging in my desk space at work. So continuing on to promotional materials on the right side here, the evolution of them. So this top photo was my first flyer ever from November 2016. As we move downward, I drew a chibi version of myself that I use for all my flyers, slides, and images now. So that first one is a featured image on our website's event page, and the one beneath that is the slide that we use in Branch on our digital displayers, and occasionally I will also send that slide out to my school contacts. And last but not least, bottom right, the bookmarks I make every quarter. I use Canva. If anyone's not familiar with that, it's a really awesome free online tool. With my panda sticker sporting a mask because he is responsible now. But let me go back up so you can see my contact information. Please feel free to reach out with any questions. I am happy to go into further detail about anything I've talked about here, or just talk to a fellow otaku about anime and manga. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of Team Connect.